So I was asked how I was able to do integration in Factorio, and it's actually a really, really simple circuit. It relies on the fact that if you add up a value over time in little tiny discrete chunks, that is an incredibly good approximation of the integral. It's just really just a Riemann sum. And we can see that in these two combinators here. The first combinator is what's called a memory cell. And what I'm doing in this first column here is that I'm starting to take the records. I'm starting to record the amount of speed. I'm starting to accumulate the velocity inside of the speed. So we're integrating over the speed to get the distance, right? And so I'm starting to do this when none of the planet values are 3. And what that means is that if none of the planet values are 3, that means that the space platform is moving. I can show that to you by going to Vulcanus, and you can see that none of the planets are 3 because we're going from Navis, so that value is 1, and we're going to Vulcanus, so that value is 2. But if we happen to be at Navis, you can see once we get there, Navis will have a value of 3 because we're going from Navis to Navis, so the distance value is exactly 3, and so we stop taking this memory, so we stop adding it up. And so what I've done, right, is I've taken a red Y input. This actually takes the velocity input from the space platform hub, and what we do is we connect the memory cell to itself. So what we do is we take V and we output it the value that it has on the red channel and the green channel, right? And so that adds the current value that we've already got stored, which we output in the previous frame, and our new velocity value. So that basically adds all of the velocity values up, and we get this value called V. But the problem is that we're taking these inputs every frame instead of every second. And so as a result, our units are wrong, right? In fact, it's exactly 60 times higher than we want it to be, right? We want our distance in kilometers, but our units are currently kilometers divided by 60 frames in a second, or times 60 frames in a second rather. So this next combinator just divides out by a flat 60, so is that our distance value, which is represented by D, is exactly measured in kilometers. And you can see that this works quite amazingly. If we just go to Vulcanus, can you see this distance value here? This tells us how far we've gone, and you can actually see that our distance is almost exactly lined up with our Vulcanus transport. And this will continue pretty accurately. It's not perfect because adding up a bunch of tiny little rectangles is not the same as adding up the actual values. Although depending on how the speed calculations are done in Factorio, maybe it actually is perfect, because the game actually updates in discrete ticks. I'm not entirely sure. But that's pretty much it. I hope this helps you understand how that works. Thank you. And as you can see, it hits 15 kilometers and then resets, which is just very nice.